Welcome back to Bookshelf. Today, we're diving into a book that was a political firestorm before a single page was even read. John Bolton's The Room Where It Happened. This wasn't just any memoir, it was an event. An event so big it sparked a presidential lawsuit and even accusations of treason. So what on earth was inside this book that the White House fought so hard to keep under wraps?
Right from the jump, this one quote really tells you everything you need to know about Bolton's perspective. He's not just making a casual observation here. He's laying out his entire argument that the nation's security was being run on gut feelings, not on careful strategic analysis. This idea is the lens through which he wants you to see every single event in his nearly 600-page account.
And there it is, the book at the heart of the whole controversy. 592 pages covering Bolton's 17 months inside the Trump administration. And get this, before a single copy was even sold, it was already one of the most talked about, most controversial books of the year. Why? Because of the incredible claims the administration insisted were hidden inside.
Which brings us to our first chapter here. Because you see, the story of this book isn't just what's written on the pages. It's the absolutely extraordinary battle to keep anyone from ever reading it in the first place. Just look at how fast this all blew up. In December 2019, Bolton submits his book for a pretty standard review. But then, just 1 month later, bam, details start leaking out right in the middle of the president's impeachment trial. Suddenly, Bolton is a potential star witness. By June, things have escalated so much that the administration is actually suing to stop the book from being published. But it was too late. A judge said no, the book came out, and a 4-month political and legal war came to an end.
And this wasn't just some run-of-the-mill lawsuit. Oh no, the Justice Department actually launched a criminal investigation. They even subpoenaed the publisher. The message being sent was crystal clear. From the administration's point of view, this book wasn't just unflattering. It was a dangerous breach of national security.
So who is the guy at the center of all this chaos? I mean, to really understand why this book had such an impact, you first have to understand the author's unique position of power.
You know, the National Security Advisor isn't just another government job. This person works from an office inside the West Wing, literally steps away from the Oval Office. They're the person who coordinates all the nation's intelligence and security agencies for the president. So Bolton wasn't just in the administration, he was right at its absolute nerve center.
And what a picture he paints of that nerve center. He reaches for this old-school philosophical term, a war of all against all, to describe what it was like on the inside. His story doesn't describe a well-oiled machine, not at all. He describes a place of constant chaos and infighting, where, in his telling, the normal way of doing things was thrown out the window all the time. All right, so let's get to the heart of it. What were the actual claims in this book? What did he say that caused such an explosion? On foreign policy, the allegations are pretty staggering. Bolton claims that the president directly linked trade talks with China to his own re-election, asking President Xi to buy more American crops to help him in swing states. He also talks about other moments he says were deeply disturbing, like apparently giving a thumbs up to China's internment camps, and even, at one point, seeming not to know that the UK has nuclear weapons. And the claims weren't just about foreign policy. Bolton used this really powerful phrase, alleging obstruction of justice as a way of life. He claims there was a pattern of trying to interfere with Justice Department investigations for political or personal reasons. A pattern so troubling, he says, that it left the White House's own top lawyer plainly stunned. Now, with claims that explosive, you just knew the reaction was going to be intense. And it was. But the fallout also has this fascinating layer of irony to it. And a lot of that starts with the book's title. The official response was, well, swift and brutal. The Secretary of State at the time, Mike Pompeo, was there for a lot of these events. And he didn't just disagree with Bolton's version of things, he flat out called him a traitor. This quote really gets to the heart of their argument, that this book was a dishonest, selfish act of betrayal, not some noble act of public service. And that title, it's a huge piece of this puzzle. It's a direct quote from a famous song in the musical Hamilton. That song is all about that burning desire to be an insider, to be in that secret room where the huge history-making decisions are made. It's a song about power, about legacy, and about who gets to tell the story. Well, the creator of Hamilton, Lin-Manuel Miranda, was not exactly flattered. He went on Twitter and posted this, let's call it a pointed remix of his own lyrics. And this gets to the #1 criticism aimed at Bolton, and not just from the administration, but from their opponents too. The big question was, Why save all these bombshells for a book instead of testifying under oath during the impeachment trial when it might have actually changed things?
And that question leads us right to the book's really complicated and controversial legacy. So, what is its ultimate impact?
This photo really captures the end of an era, doesn't it? It shows Bolton on his very last day, literally moments before the world found out he was leaving. He said he was using his personal phone, one he normally had to keep locked away, to call his daughter and tell her he was about to resign. It's the exact moment the ultimate insider was heading out the door, about to become an outsider.
And then there's this number, which is impossible to ignore in this story. $2 million. That's the reported advance Bolton was paid for the book. To his critics, that number is proof of his true motivation, profit. For his defenders, it's just the kind of money a high-profile person gets for a memoir like this. Either way you look at it, the money is an absolutely inescapable part of the story.
And so, it all leaves us with this fundamental question. And it's a question that's so much bigger than just John Bolton. When an insider decides to reveal secrets from the room where it happened, are they doing it to serve history, to serve the public, or is it really an act of self-interest, cashing in on their public service? With this story, like so many others, there's just no easy answer. If you love timeless stories and deep literary journeys, don't forget to subscribe to Bookshelf.